writing a program that had to do with the input and output. Input and output, where we looked at the BMI, how to compute the BMI. So today we are looking at the chapter 4, which has to do with input and outputs, also operations, using creators to print out the receipt. So let's look at the output again, then we can take it from there. Okay, so this is a program to print out a receipt for an individual. So it could be a shop, it could be any business at all. Okay, so it prints out a receipt for the customer. So we have a project, or the code will request for the customer's name, the contact, the telephone number, the product, the order number, okay, and then check the items, the quantity, the unit price, and then calculate the total, subtotal, calculate the subtotal, calculate the overall total. If there are any, there's any discount or any taxation, okay, those tax will be deducted, okay, and then give you the amount the person is supposed to pay. So we'll look at, that's what we want to focus on today. So we'll first start by creating our project. We are going to give it a name. We're going to give it a name. Let's give it a name. Receipt app. So create a project, and like we learned from last week, after creating the project, we go to the source directory and then create a package. So we name the package, let's say com.receipt app. Com.receipt app. And then after, we create a class. So we'll name the class receipt app. So last week we learned that in naming the class, the text should be together. All right. So we are going to start the code. And like we always do, we start with our main method. So we say public static void main PSVM. Then inside our main, first we want to declare the items, okay, as variables. Okay, or let me just say we declare the variables. Now these variables, we are going to declare first. First, we'll declare the items. Okay, so let's say it's a restaurant. Okay, so let's say it's a restaurant. So we can declare the items or the prices of the items. So let's say the restaurant is into selling maybe local dishes. Okay. Or let's use a bookshop. Let's use a bookshop. So with a bookshop, I'm going to declare the unit price. Okay, so I'll just say double unit price of, let's say, exercise book. Then we will declare a unit price of, let's say, a pen. So let's look at 3 items. So let's say next one, unit price of which other item? Give me an item, bookshop, stationery shop.
Marcus.
So math sets. So let's say math sets. Okay, so let's say math sets, mathematical sets. Okay. So we are assuming that the shop has these 3 items. And we are going to also declare a variable to hold the quantity. Okay, so the quantity. So we'll say int, let's say num of exercise books. So number of exercise books. So this is for the quantity. Then we'll declare same for number of pen, and then number of math sets. So we've done that. The next thing we want to do is to declare a variable for the subtotal. Okay, so for instance, if we take, let me just draw it so that we'll see. We have the item, we have the quantity QTY, we have the unit price UP, and then we have the subtotal. Okay, so we have something like this. So if the item is pen, what's the quantity? Maybe the quantity is 2. The unit price is 2 cedis, 50 pesos. Okay, so the subtotal will be 5 cedis. Are we all here?
Sir.
Yes. Are we all here? Are you following?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So now we want to declare the variable for the subtotal, which is going to be double because we are dealing with currency. Okay, so subtotal for exercise book. Subtotal. Let me just copy this. So subtotal for pen. subtotal for pen, and then subtotal for math set. Then we also want to declare a variable for the overall total. So total order. Okay, so the total, when we add all the subtotal, we get the total. Then now we want to declare a string to hold the customer's name, the telephone number, the customer's name, telephone number. And then finally, we will declare a variable data type short to hold the month, the day, and then the year, okay, to specify the order for the order date. Then we are also going to introduce another declaration for another declaration to handle discount. So discount, let's say the discount rate. So the person has 12, let's say 10% discount, or let's say 12% discount. So what would that be? How would you write 12% discount? Anyone? Anyone? How would you write 12%?
Yeah.
Yes, wisdom.
0.12.
Okay, so 0.12. So the person has 0.12. That's 12% discount on the item. So now we are done with our declarations. So we've declared the variables we are going to use based on the description that we gave. Now, the next thing to do is to accept the inputs. Okay. So for all this declaration, except the discount which has been initialized, we are going to accept inputs, okay, for all of them. We are going to accept inputs for the item, the unit price, the customer name, telephone number, the month, day, and year. With the subtotal and total, we are going to compute those values. So from last week, we learned that if we want to accept input, we use the scanner package. Okay, so I type scanner, and then it imports the package for me. And then we use a keyword, so I'll say input equals new scanner system.in. So if you remember from last week, the shortcuts that I taught you, I'll be using those shortcuts so that you can get familiar with them. You don't need to be typing each and every word. Just use a shortcut to generate them. So the first input we are going to take is the customer details. Customer details. I need to activate my IntelliJ, so I have to be saving it every time so that if it restarts, I don't lose code. So customer details. So the first one, we will say system.out, s.out, print line, we say, welcome to ATU bookshop. And then we will say, please.
Yeah, please welcome to.
Okay,
Yeah, please
sorry.
welcome
to. Yeah, thank you. Please enter customer's name. So that will be taken. Now we want the customer name to be entered on the same line as the string. Okay, so we use the system.print. Then we now accept the customer name. So customer name equals input dot next. Next, what do we use for customer name from last week? It's a
Next
string.
line.
It's a string, so we are using next line. Thank you. So next line. And then the next one, we'll say enter the telephone number. So enter the customer phone number. So that one, we use the data type, sorry, there's the variable. Oh, sorry, phone number. Thank you. It means you are following what we are doing. So input dot next. So the phone number will be what? Next what?
Next line.
Next line, because we declared that as a string. Okay, we declared that as a string as well. Okay, so we use next line for the telephone number as well. Or we can also say next. Next should also work as well as next line. So we are done with the customer details. I think we can even add the date and time as well to it. So let's say the next one, you say enter let's say you want to accept transaction date. Okay, so transaction date. So transaction date, we'll say enter say enter details of transaction dates below. And then we'll introduce some asterisks or short dashes for it. Now, like I mentioned last, the use of escape sequence are very essential with how we want our output to look like. Okay, so we are going to say we can use the \n here just to show that we should give one line before printing out the statement. Then the next thing we want to now accept is the date, the day, the month, and then the year. So we say enter. Please mute your microphone, Romeo. So we say enter the month. So with the month, we said month, right? Month is equal to input dot what? Input dot what do we use? For the month, dot short, thank you. Dot next short, next, dot next short. Okay, so that's what we use for the month.
Recording stopped.
Then we will do for the day, enter the day. So day would also be next short. Then the last one we'll do for the year. So enter the year. So we'll have that as year is equal to input dot next short. Please, are you following so far?
Yes, sir.
Are we all following?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
So we've done that of the customer details, the name and telephone number. The next thing we have done is for the transaction date, pick the date. Now the next one we want to do is to look at the price, the unit price. We want to look at the unit price. So the unit price details. The unit price. Like I said, the code looks plenty. However, most of them are just copy and paste. You are repeating most of the codes. Okay, so we'll say enter the unit price of an exercise book. Exercise book. So with that one, say what? Unit price, exercise book equals input dot what? Next what?
Let's double.
Next double. Thank you. So we'll do same for the other items that we have. Unit price on the other items. So I'll copy and paste twice. So this one will be unit price of a pen. So I'll change here to unit price pen. Then here is unit price of mat set. then enter the unit price of math set or mathematical set. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
We are through with the unit price. So what do you think will be the next thing we have to accept input for? What do you think? We've done the unit price, we've done the customer details, we've done the transaction dates. What else do you think we have to accept input for?
The quantity.
The quantity. So we say the quantity of items. So let me just copy this and then we edit it. So the first one we will say enter the number of, so I'm changing the unit price to what? Number. Enter the number of exercise books. The number of exercise books bought. So we change this number of exercise books equals input dot next. This time around, with the quantity, we use int, not double. Okay. So input dot next int. And we do same for number of pen bought. So we say input number of pen equals input dot next int. And then this one is number of mathematical set. Just copy this here. Number of mathematical sets bought. So number of math sets. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So have you seen how we've written the code and spaced everything out? So someone should be able to take your code and just by observation, the person should understand what you are up to. Are you with me? Francis Tete, mute your microphone. So someone should just take your code just by observation, looking at your comments, and be able to tell what is happening. Yes, is it Chantel?
Yes. Sir,
Yeah.
please, can you add the tax that will be taken? Tax, like add the tax on the 11 to 46.
As for that one, it was an assignment. It was a past question shown. So I'll use the discount to do that. Then you take it from how I'm going to do the discount in this particular code. You use that same approach to handle the tax. Sorry, to handle the tax. Is that clear, Chantel? No, is that clear? Are you clear with it?
Please, I'm clear.
Oh, okay. Stephen, your hand is up. Yes, Stephen, can't hear you. So, Stephen. All right, so let's go on.
I think my microphone was using different device.
Okay, so go on with your question.
Yeah, I was asking a question on the class name.
Okay.
The last time you told us to use capital letter, or it doesn't matter, I just have to follow one particular way.
Hey, last time, did I say you should use capital letter?
Yes.
Yeah, like for the starting.
Really? My emphasis
Yes.
wasn't on the capital letter.
No.
The emphasis was on the fact that your text should not have a space in
Okay.
between it. That was the emphasis, not on whether it was capital letters.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
Thank you.
well, yes, Bashiru. And so,
Sir, please, I want to ask if you want code to accept the input, can you bring the input dot next dot int before the input that you want to accept?
can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, please, I want to ask for the program to accept the input. Can you bring input next before the code that you want the program to accept?
Can
Pen
you bring what?
equals input dot next. Can you bring the input dot next int before the number of pen? Then you assign the number of pen to it.
Let's take this. Can you see my screen?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So use this example here to ask your question so that I can understand what.
Okay, so can you swap the input dot next int with the number of pen? So the input dot next will be first, then you assign the number of pen to it.
Why why do you want us to do it that way?
Because I just want to ask whether you can do it like you see the C plus plus, you can do it like that. That's why I'm asking whether you
No,
can do it like that.
no, you can't do it that way. Okay, so because in C++ we do C in, and then we now bring the variable
Yeah,
in. No. This is a different syntax.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, I now get your question.
Okay, sir. Thank
Yeah,
you.
if you do it that way, it won't work because this is a different syntax.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now we want to perform the calculation in the computation. So we have to compute the subtotals, and then we have to compute the total order. Okay. And in that computation too, we need to take into consideration our discount, the discount rate. Okay. So we'll say computation. So what's the first computation we want to do? We want to find the total, sorry, the subtotal. Okay, I think we didn't declare one variable. So we can still declare it here. Okay. So if you look at the code very well, the templates, you could see that there was Just a moment. So if you look at the code carefully, you can see that there's a point where we are finding the total number of items. Okay, so you realize that we didn't declare that variable. We didn't declare that. So if you look at it, the number of items from here, 2 plus 3 plus 3 will give you 8. Okay, so we didn't declare that variable. So we need to do that over here. So we say int total number of items equals total number of items. That means we are going to add number of books plus number of pens plus number of masses. Okay. So I just copy and paste and introduce the plus sign here to add all those values. So after finding the total number of items, now we want to find the subtotal. Okay, that's the unit price times the quantity, okay, to give us a subtotal. So we find subtotal of a size book. It's going to be the price, the number of a size books times the unit price of a size book. We do the subtotal for pen, which is equal to number of pen times unit price of pen. Okay. Finally, we do the subtotal of masses equal to number of masses times the unit price of the masses. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We are with you.
So the last computation
Yes,
we
sir.
are going to do is to calculate, or the last part one will be to calculate the overall total, and then we need to perform the discount. Okay, so overall total, we say total order is equal to, we are adding the subtotals to get the overall total. So I just copy all this. So the subtotal for pen, subtotal for masset, subtotal for a size book. So I'll just put the plus there, and then plus here again to get the subtotal. Then finally discount. So after getting the subtotal, we need to find the discount. Okay, so let's do that of the discount. So we need to introduce another variable, which will take the overall total. So we say double overall total, or we can just say amount to pay. Okay. So we know that since we have the total order, okay, we need to subtract. Please take note of the expression, the use of the operators. Okay, we are going to calculate the discount of the total order. Okay, so what is 0.12 or 12% of the total amount? Okay, so we first compute 0.25 or 0.12, right? That's 12%. Okay, so 0.12 times the total order. Okay, and that will give us the discount amount. Okay, and then we'll subtract that from the total order to get the amount the person has to pay. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now we get to the output, how we are going to output our work. And this is the most interesting part of the entire work, because we are going to use our escape sequence to align our invoice, okay, or our receipt. So here we are going to display or print out, may use print the receipts using our system.out.println. Okay. So let me just copy one of them, then we'll edit it as we go along. So even with this If not for the code we have here, we might want to, for each one or two lines, you can print it out and see what the output or how the output will look like. Okay. So for the first one, we can have a welcome message. I will say, or maybe ATU bookshop. Now we want it to be such that the text can put some asterisks. Now it's a string, so this will print out as you see it. 3 asterisks, then a \T over there, which is for tab. Then it prints the bookshop, ATU bookshop. Then we can put another \T there to give another tab. Introduce 3 asterisks. Okay. Then the next statement, we want to print out maybe want to print out, let's say, +++, something. I think the example we saw had short dashes. So we can use maybe the equal to represent that. So in all this, we are using the print line because when we print, it has to go to the next line. So please take note. The previous ones, we can just use just the print statement to handle them. So the first thing we are going to output will be the customer name. So who is the customer?
Yata.
And after that, we introduce the telephone number. So it's going to pick the telephone number from whatever was entered. Say telephone number. Then next thing we want to input is the order date. So order date, we'll first take the day, concatenate it with slash slash. The next one is the month. And then finally, we add the year. So what we are going to get, if it's today's date, you have 8, which is the date, the month. If you entered 7, 7 comes slash the year 2025. Now, what we are doing is just the basics. Like I said, next semester, when we do Java 2, we are going to add what we call exception handling to it. In a sense that if someone makes a mistake, instead of day, you are expecting a number, and the person enters a text, okay, you should give a feedback to the person that please enter a number. Okay, but that's beyond our study now. Do that later on. Okay, what we just want is for you to understand how you can print out some of these receipts. Okay, when we go to buy items, the shop, we are given invoices of receipts. How we can write a program to perform the same thing. So the next thing, maybe we want to introduce another if to, so just copy this, bring it here. And the next one, now we go to parts where we have the items, the quantity. Okay, so first we say item. Now after the item, I'll leave some space. Okay, so whilst you are leaving the space, look out for the number of characters in the item. Okay, so for instance, mathematical set is long. Pen is short. Okay, so whilst you look out for the longest text, okay, in your item, and then leave a space to handle it. So in this case, I'm introducing two tabs, /T, two of them, before the quantity. If it's not enough, I have to come back and introduce a third one before the quantity. Then after that, I introduce one tab and then the unit price. Then after, I introduce the subtotal. So we can always come back and check to make sure that our items are following the order in which we are arranging them. So now the first item we had was,
Subtotal.
oh, sorry, subtotal. Thank you. Rosemary, please don't write on the screen. Kindly undo the writings on the screen. So the next thing, the first item is.
Sir, please. But the sub, you mixed capital letters with small letters. Is it okay?
Thank you. You could tell that it's a title. So we have exercise book. So after the exercise book, we'll give a tab. So /T. Then we concatenate it with the next thing is what? The number of exercise book. So it's following this description I have over here. If you look at it carefully, it's following this description over here. Okay, so after the quantity, the item comes, we introduce the quantity, then we concatenate it with the unit price, and then concatenate it with the subtotal. Okay, but after each concatenation, we separate it with the text, with this /T, and then you can also add the symbol Ghana cedi to it. Okay. So I think the text would be longer, so the item will be longer. So let me introduce another tab here. Okay, so here we have /T. Okay, and then I'll introduce GHC, Ghana cedi. Then plus we concatenate it with the unit price of exercise book. Okay. Unit price of exercise book. /T. And then finally, we add the subtotal for exercise book. So I'll copy this, paste it for the next item is pen. We have pen. So pen, I think, will be it's a shorter text, 3-letter words. So we can introduce 3 tabs for the pen. Okay, 3 tabs for the pen. Then we will say number of pen. And then we will say unit price for the pen. And then subtotal for pen. And then we come to the last item on our list, which is the mathematical set. Mathematical sets, also 1 tab. So unit price or number of math sets, subtotal of math sets. Then the unit price of math sets. So before we output and look at the overall total, let's run the code and see what we are going to get before we do the last part. All right, I hope you can see the output here. Welcome to ATU Bookshop. You all see that? So we enter the name.
Yes.
I enter the name, enter telephone number 0244 00033. Okay. So you can see here that we've made a mistake somewhere. Okay, we introduce print line. Okay, that's this part. Can you see it? We introduce print instead of print line. So we can see that it's printing everything on one line. Okay, so that's not what we want. Rather, we want everything on a new line. So we can use the escape sequence as a \n. Sorry. A \n there to correct it. Okay, so we don't necessarily need to restart the code. Let's enter the month. So whilst we are going on, we are seeing the corrections we have to do and correct them. Okay, so whilst we correct, save the correction. So the next thing is the month. So this month is 7. Then enter the day. The day is 8. The year is 2025. Okay, enter the unit price of a book, of an exercise book. So let's say an exercise book is 30 cedis. Unit price of a pen. So after entering the unit price, we don't need a space like we are seeing. Okay, so because we are using next double, it's going to give us a space. So I can remove that out, but keep the first one. So the pen, let's say the pen is 5 cedi. And then the mathematical set is, let's say, 80 cedis. Okay. Now we come to the unit price. What's the number of exercise book the person bought? Let's say 2 exercise books. The number of So I'll remove the backslash from the item box so that it looks a bit presentable. The number of pen the person bought, let's say 4 pens. And then the number of mathematical sets the person bought, let's say 1. So you see the outputs.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now from this output, you can see that we need to do some few corrections. Okay. Maybe we can take 2 of these dots out, or we can still leave it that way. Looking at here, I think we can just take one of the equal to out from here and here, or we can extend it all the way here. Okay, because our items, the invoice, the receipt looks longer. So we can introduce more tabs here and here so that the textbooks will look centered a bit. Then now you can see here item. In fact, even after the item, we can bring some line under. Okay, so you see that the alignment is not in order. See where the 4 is. Look at where the quantity of the mathematical set is. Okay, so we need to realign that part of the code to suit it. So here I'm going to add, sorry, the code will go off. Seconds. Let me take a snapshot and then we can finalize it quickly. It's Richard here, part-time class rep. Yeah, you have a class at 7 o'clock, since it's almost 7, so that we can end and continue when we meet face to face.
Sir, we don't.
All right. So we have just a few codes to go. The main thing is how we align what we see over here. So as you can see, we want to introduce more tabs. Okay. Want to introduce more tabs. So I can add one more tab here. Add another tab here. Add maybe to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 equal to 8 equal to here. And here we have to add another tab, because when we look at the text of the mathematical set, okay, the text for the mathematical set is longer than all of them. So we have to introduce another tab here so that the quantity will appear here. The unit price will come here, and then the subtotal will come here. So I introduce another tab. So now we have 4 tabs. That means when I come to this one, I should have 2 tabs inside the exercise book part. I should have 4 tabs, no, in 5. I should have 5 tabs for the pen, because the pen seems to be shorter in terms of text, 3-letter words. And this one will be 1 tab. And then we also said we want to add an short dashes after the subtotal. So I'll put hyphen there. put hyphen there. So we'll introduce this one at the bottom again. Then now we add the last part of our code, which has to do with the total number of dresses. So I'll copy this. Sorry, total number or number of items. Number of items. Number of items. So I think we had something for total number of items here. So we put that there. Then we do the total order. Total order. Put here total. And then we do the discount. Discount, we know the discount amount, discount rate, put it there. And then finally, we do the amount to be paid. Amount to be paid. Amount to be paid. We put that also there. So our receipt or our invoice is now ready. It's now ready. So now let's run the code. Let's run the code. So enter the name, you enter the name. Enter the telephone number 0244 000 833. So you can see that the correction is now showing the way we wanted it to appear, unlike previously where the 3 lines of text appeared on the same line. So we enter the month is 7, the day is 8, the year is 2025. And then enter the unit price of the book. The unit price, we said the book is 30. Unit price for pen. Pen, we said is 5 CB. Mathematical set is 80. Enter the number of exercise books. So the number of exercise books, we enter number of exercise books. 5. We said, did we say 5? We said 2. Number of pen, we said 4. Number of mathematical sets, we said 1. Okay, so now it's giving us our invoice. So as you can see, the customer name. Okay, so the equal to we introduce for the aesthetics is not enough. So that means we need to introduce more and more tabs. Do you all get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we need to introduce more equal to a more tab for the bookshop. So you can see customer name, contacts, order number, then the item. So the item, so the first item, that's the book, the quantity. So you can see now it's well aligned. If we compare it to the first output that we had, can you see the difference now?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So this is our first output. Okay. Now the use of the escape sequence has now aligned every text. So the quantity 241, then the unit price. We could have still gone further to do the subtotals directly under this. So you can try it on your own. Just take any normal receipt or invoice and see how you can replicate the same thing by writing this code. Yeah, like I said, this is coming in exams, whether you like it or not. Okay, so when you start practicing it, earlier you start practicing it, the better for you.
Hey, Jesus.
So, so we have the order number. If you add all this, 2 plus 4 plus 1 will give you 7. If you add, so this 2 times 30 is 60. I think we need to align this to the left a bit because we need to introduce about 2 tabs so that this will align well. We didn't check that earlier. So we need to move this 2\T so that to push it towards the right a bit. If you look at it carefully, 2 times 30, 60 Ghana, 4 times 5, 20 Ghana, 1 times 80, 80 Ghana. When we add all this, it gives us what? 160. Okay. So the 160, the person has what? 12% discount. So 12% discount, that means instead of 160, the person is paying 140 cedis, 80 pesos. Okay. All right, so I'll take some few questions, then we end the class. I see 2 hands up. Paul, Kofi, and then Richard. Just these 3 questions, and then we'll end the class. We'll continue when we meet next week. I'll try and make the video available for our next meeting, for those of you who want to watch and then practice. Yeah, so let's start with Paul.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I was about to request for the link to the video, but you just talked about it.
All right. Peter.
Yeah, sir. Please imagine like giving the payment slip, no? Maybe the person has given a discount. So maybe now the person is supposed to pay, let's say 140 cedis.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, if the person is maybe giving maybe 200
200 cedis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's simple. You can do that easily. Peter, can't you do it? This is like the example I showed you last week in class, the past question I showed you, where the person paid 100 cedis. So you just take the amount paid and then deduct it from the total to get the balance the person will take. Very simple. So you do that in the computation part of the code.
All right, sir.
Yeah. And then with the issues with the tax, NHIL levy, e-levy, COVID levy, and so on, all those examples we saw, you can do the same over here. So you just introduce them just like we introduced the discounts because they were given percentages. If you remember the example, for every tax, there's some percentage that is deducted. Okay, so you sum all those percentages, sum all those tax, the percentage value, and then you add it to so in terms of tax, you are adding it to the person's total amount. You get it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's being added to the total amount. That's for the tax. But if it's discount, it is deducted from the total amount. Yes,
Okay,
Richard, you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Good evening, sir.
Richard, you have a question?
Sir, I have a question, please.
If you have a question, you raise your hand.
I don't know where to get that. Sorry.
Hey, my brother.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the icon, the hand icon.
All right, so this is the last question, and then we'll end the class. I
I-
have
I-
another class
I-
to attend to.
Okay. I want to ask about the dates. Can we
Yes.
also use the local date class to get the dates automatically, or it's not applicable here?
No, we can. There's that class as well. We can do that.
Yes. Oh,
But
okay.
like I
Okay.
said, we are just doing the basics. We are
Sure.
looking
Thank you.
at the basic input computing and all that. There are a whole
All
lot
right.
of
Yeah.
how do I put it? Complexity that we can add to the code. But this is just the basics so that we understand basic inputs, outputs, use of
Outputs.
escape sequence, and
Yes,
also
sir.
how to perform computations when it comes to a practical scenario like this.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, sir.
So,
Please, I'm sorry for not responding.
yes, Richard.
Okay, so my question was that can we add the address on the receipt, and maybe at the end of the receipt we write a thank you message, or maybe goods sold at are not returnable?
Exactly.
Can we add
You
it to
can
it
always
too?
you can always do that.
Okay.
These are
Okay. All
just
right.
simple outputting a string. So these ones
Okay.
are straightforward. Yeah. So you can
Oh,
always
okay.
do that. All right. So
Sure.
I won't have to end the class here. God bless you all for joining.
They want to see
Enjoy
the
the
last
rest
one.
of your week.
Thank you.
The video will be
Thank you,
made
sir.
available. See. God bless
Sir,
you.
please, you've not prayed.
Good night.
Sir, please pray.
Oh, am I?